A dressmaker from Surrey will be hoping that everyone went well when the bride appeared in her gown Don't Tell the Bride last night. Caroline Arthur from Whitley designed the dress for wrestler Mike Mason to surprise his bride Becky with. Have a listen to this.
The groom's focus is now fixed on the wedding dress. Desperate to make it perfect for Becky, he's designed the gown himself.
It's massively important to me that it's done the way I want for her. It's got to be right.
But Mike needs to bring his vision to life, all within his very strict budget.
Well, this is a cracking series. Morning, Caroline. Thank you for coming in. Nice to see you this morning. Let's explain the premise of this show, because people might not have seen it before. I don't see an awful lot on BBC Three, but this is a very good programme, Don't Tell the Bride. It's basically where they say to the groom, right, here's the money, and it's a limited budget, but here's the money. Go away and prepare your wedding day, and the bride effectively can have nothing to do with it.
That's right, absolutely. So she's allowed no say in anything whatsoever. She doesn't know anything, she can't contribute anything, nobody can tell her anything. So it is an absolute total surprise. I have to say, I used to be a little bit cynical about some TV reality shows, but having done this, everything is genuine, so you really do only get a day's notice.
And there are some real cringy moments in this show as well, aren't there? They're absolutely classic. As I say, I've seen a number of these now where you just think, and even as a chap, I will sit there and think, no, you know that the bride won't want this.
Yes, absolutely. There are some absolute clangers on there. I think that was probably my biggest fear at saying yes to the show, was what was going to happen if the bride came and tried it on and didn't like it.
Well, let's talk through the involvement that you had with the programme. What exactly happened?
Okay, I got an email from a researcher at the BBC saying a groom has designed his dress, which is a little unusual because normally they pick it from a shop. And they asked whether I'd be prepared to make it, so I was absolutely delighted. So I met with Mike, and he described the design that he wanted, which was a kind of silver sparkly affair with butterflies all over it and visible steel boning. Fantastic design, absolutely beautiful. Quite typically, it was unfortunately quite a bit over his budget, and I think on the show they showed another dressmaker who he saw before me, who quite rightly described what he wanted to have as being considerably over his budget. I also offer a collection, which is a sort of design your own collection, where there's standard patterns. You pick a top and a skirt, and then I have it made in your choice of colour and then customise it to order. And as it happened, the particular style that he chose fitted very well with my collection. Okay,
so what have you brought in with you today? Because you've got some bits and pieces there with you this morning.
I have. Well, I managed to source some fantastic sparkly butterflies for him from a Couture milliner that I know called Ilda de Vico. They're absolutely beautiful.
They are.
I kind of started off with this dress Googling sparkly butterflies and came up with a lot of tad, if you don't mind me saying.
That's fine.
So I was very relieved to kind of find these from Ilda, and they really made the dress. I then just brought in some fabrics to show you which are the fabrics Mike chose, which is a French silk metallic lace, a beautiful silk dupillon and a silk organza overlay.
And explain, I mean, actually the butterfly thing was because this was something from Becky's childhood, wasn't it?
That's right. Mike, and talk about not judging a book by its cover. When Mike first arrived, I was not expecting somebody so softly spoken and so, sentimental isn't quite the right word, but he was very, very gentle in the way he talked about Becky, and it was really important to him that this was the perfect dress for her. So he described a time when she walked through a meadow and a butterfly landed on her arm, and it reminded her of her childhood, and that was why he wanted to incorporate the butterflies.
Now, if you missed the programme, it was on BBC Three last night, but the good news is they do repeat it tomorrow night as well. But we don't want to give too much away for those who haven't yet seen it, but how did the dress go down?
Well, fortunately, Becky absolutely loved the dress.
Right.
So the reaction was very good. It was exactly what I was hoping for. She'd also broken her arm the couple of weeks before the wedding in a wrestling match. Can you believe this girl wrestles? Honestly, she's absolutely tiny. But so I'd made her a silver lace cover to go over the splint and hide it, which matched the dress. So it was those touches which I think made it really special and made her realise Mike had really, really thought about this.
Now, are you married?
I am married.
Okay. Would you have wanted your dress chosen by your husband, your then husband-to-be?
I can't imagine anything worse.
No. Seriously, because I mean, we had a fairly traditional wedding, and my wife went away and chose her dress with her bridesmaids and so on. The one thing that I wouldn't have had a clue on was the wedding dress. So it sounds to me you were quite surprised that Mike did pretty well on getting this right.
Yes, and I have to say, from seeing some of the other, well, I wasn't surprised having met him, but before I met him, having seen the other programmes in the show, some of them aren't terribly successful on the dress front.
Okay.
But having met him and really listened to him talk, he just seemed so genuine, and to have given him so much thought, I had a bit more confidence.
Well, I thank you for coming in. As I say, if you didn't get to see this, do have a look on BBC Three. It's on tomorrow night on the BBC, and I wish you ongoing success. I wonder how many more grooms you'll get coming your way in the weeks and months to come. I don't suspect many, do you?
It's a very unusual situation, and it's also quite problematic to make a dress for somebody without any fittings.
Yes, this is also true. Caroline, thank you for coming in to see us this morning.
Thank you.